Big Book of Families. Conservatives were raging over this book.
The Great Big Book of Families, written by Mary Hoffman and Ross. Once upon a time, most families in books look like this: a girl, one dog, and one corpse, and some in different ways. Their mommy and daddy.
But lots of others live with just their daddy or their mommy. Some live with their grandma and grandpa. Some children have two mummies or two daddies. Some are adopted or fostered. Like, getting upset at this kind of thing is fucking psychotic. You know what I mean? But this is the type of shit that, like, conservatives are getting mad at. Like, this is when you say, I don't want my children learning about this kind of thing. This is, like, I don't want my children learning about gay shit. This is what they're talking about. Sounds to me like the conservative right is being pretty damn hypocritical. Of course they are. They're always hypocritical. These are the guys who hate cancel culture and supposedly hate censorship. But if you look at it, conservatives are responsible. Conservative think tanks and conservative organizations are responsible for the overwhelming majority of book cancellations and books being removed from libraries in this country. And they've always been the ones who are responsible for the overwhelming majority of books being prevented from being disseminated. That's just how it is. That's how it's always been. When people are like, oh, I'm anti-censorship, they just mean like they want to fucking be able to say slurs for the most part. I mean, that is what it always gets reduced to. I hate saying that, but it is the truth, you know? The issue I have here is that making a point that this change is not as effective as just portraying families in this way and pretending that it's completely normal and not even mentioning the old all-white nuclear family image. Okay, well, now you just are debating a fucking children's book, okay? And for the record, as time changes and attitudes shift, okay, people become more progressive and more open-minded. This exact same, like, anti-queer sentiment was expressed not that long ago towards just specifically gay parents. And even before that, if you go a long enough time back to, like, the 60s, it was expressed towards interracial parents, okay? And that's not that long ago. Like, when you think about that, that's not. It hasn't been that long since this country allowed interracial relationships to exist. Okay? So, understand that. Understand that, you know, this kind of stuff being rolled back is really scary. Because conservatives will not stop at just, like, the gay stuff. Okay, they will try to go back to even interracial marriages. It sounds insane when I say it because you're like, what? No way. No fucking way. But think about how much conservatives have chosen to take back. It was never about trans kids competing in sports because now they're going after adults that are taking HRT with medical consent. Okay? It wasn't just about It's never just about whatever the fuck conservatives are claiming it's about, okay? It drastically gets rolled back. You give an inch, you lose an arm, okay? I hope people understand my position. If you have any kind of issues with it, you can bring it up in the chat. As far as what do you call it? As far as like teaching like sex ed in schools and whatnot goes, there will always be things that you at first glance think is like weird. You know what I mean? You'll be like, whoa, what the fuck? That's like kind of odd. Kind of odd that, you know, they're teaching my child this, hypothetically, right? But these things are not put together by random fucking weirdos who are like gross perverts or whatever. These concepts are put together by professionals who know what is best as far as educating your child. You might not understand like gravity, for example, and you don't have an issue when your teacher is teaching your child about gravity, the theory, okay? Or even how light reflects, for example, and how you see. If you have an issue with that, and you take your child out of school due to that, that's how you arrive at the TikTok generation. That's how you arrive at the TikTok generation that goes, how do people see things? How does the mirror see? How does the mirror see? Please explain to me, Magic Man. Okay? You don't want motherfuckers running around like medieval peasants, I hope. Even though it is pretty funny when we see another one like that in the wild, who has opinions like that in the wild. It's funny. My school brought in a nurse in the public health department. Teacher like said was super structured and not creepy in any way. Yeah. I think the drama with Aiden is important as he has a massive audience of young teens who love this far-right things as edgy. I think it also ties into other people larger, more prominent positions like Elon Musk. Their tweets and views are largely the same idiotic sentiments, with Elon Musk only knowing how to lightly veil his beliefs with a thin white cloak. Yeah, I mean, right-wing concepts are pretty fucking, open and shut. Okay? They're pretty basic. Like, what you see is what you fucking get. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why, the right-wing think tank perfectly crafting its narrative is going to end up having an identical slant to the random guy who's a gray name chatter. They're going to say the same shit. It's the same talking points. Duking it out with a gray name chatter is no different than duking it out with Ben Shapiro in many respects, because it's always the same talking points. Oftentimes, those same talking points already rely on the norm that you experience and know being the current oppressive hierarchies. So there's also that component too. So it's much easier to advocate for the pre-existing structure instead of advocating against it. You have to make an argument as to how you will destroy the current oppressive constructs that you exist under, and then how to rebuild them. That's why it's a lot harder to make arguments from the left, in my opinion, than it is from the right. I get that you having a discussion with someone is important because you expose leftist ideas to more people that may not know about them, like the top of the hour ad break. Fuck you. Okay, well, that's actually fucked up.
And they can do their own thing. They can make their own decisions. Whenever you brick it into them really young, then how do you know if that's what they actually want? You don't know what they want because they're not old enough to have all the components to make these decisions. So why do you take it for them? And why do you make it spread that and be an advocate for things they don't even understand? It's like if you make your kid wait.
Yeah, this is, I don't know what he's saying, because like this concept that he's like arguing against supposedly is quite literally the reason why it should exist. Like, how can someone know what they want without ever learning about it? Like, this is precisely the reason why. This is ironically an argument for LGBT education.